In an interview on a television show, the anchor asked the tennis legend Martina Navratilova, "How do you maintain your focus and manage to keep playing even at the age of 43? The instant response that she gave was mind-blowing. She said, "Well, to be honest, the ball has absolutely no idea about how old I am. Plus, the need to focus is only for 10% of the match. For the rest 90%, I don't even have to focus." In a typical tennis match, the players spend less than 15% of their time hitting the ball. During a round of golf, golfers spend less than 20% of their round swinging at the golf club. And in American football, the ball is actually in play for only 6% of the game. Sports psychologist Garrett Kramer says that a key factor to performing well in sports, and I suppose in life as well, is your ability to control the quality and the quantity of your internal dialogue. Our performance can reach its peak and we can realize our highest potential when the internal interference which stops us from giving our best is minimized and eventually stopped. Isn't it said that any game, including the game of life, is played on a 6-inch course? The space between our ears. If we can master that space, we can master any space in life.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Gaur Gopal Das, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, celebrate life.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we have problems in our life, it only means there is life and we need to celebrate life. Yes, indeed. The problems may differ, like I said. The flavors may vary. The magnitudes may vary. Some have different kinds of problem to different magnitudes, and we may have a completely different nature of problem to a different magnitude.
Rule number 3, practice humility.
I think the pudding I tasted before the monastery was a pudding of great achievements.
Okay.
I've been a university topper. Practically every semester I've seen the best. I'm a vocalist. I'm a guitarist. So when you enter into an auditorium full of people, you start singing, start striking some chords on the guitar. Academically, you're doing well. Picked up by Hewlett Packard for a great job. So tasted the pudding of achievements. Tasted the pudding of control. Power. Tasted the pudding of people respecting and bending down. When you're up there, right? You're popular in that sense. And then I come to the monastery. And it's quite amazing. I tasted the pudding of all of this. And I moved into the monastery with that baggage, with that ashram, that here I am a academic success, here I am a corporate success, here I am a ABC, XYZ. And I come into the monastery and you're surrounded by 30 other monks who are either the similar age as you or older to you. And each one of them from excellent academic institutions. Probably some of them were gold medalists in their field, had great corporate experience and now spiritual experience. And when I entered into the monastery, the pudding I tasted first was humility. It was more forced humility because you're coming with a baggage that you're someone and you enter into that space and you realized, hey, I thought I was someone. And suddenly the whole bubble bursts open, it's cracking the bubble open. And then with good training from my guru and the other monks around there, I learned how humility is such an incredible quality for one's spiritual growth, personal growth, professional growth. In any space you want to grow, humility is such an incredible foundational premise, because humility entails that you kind of accept, or you say that I know that I don't know it all.
True knowledge is knowing you know nothing.
Knowing that you don't know it all. Yeah. Ego says I know it all, and humility says I know that I don't know it all. Humility says I know I'm good at something, but I'm not the best of everything or everyone in the world. So I enter in there and I realize there's so many people around who are way better, and that acceptance that they are better paved the way to learning. Like, don't they say, if you think you're the best person in the room or the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
Rule number 4, customize your life.
I think what's happening a lot with our lives today is that we're living in a very fast-paced life. Life has become very fast. Achievements, social media statuses, what's our status on social media, how we achieve in our professional life. It's so much about having that we forget living, And life is not meant simply for having. Having is a part of life, correct? But living is what life is for. But in the process of having, in chasing to have more, we forget to live well, And therefore, when we're talking about this monk principles, or we're talking about this monk mindset, we're talking about making that choice and prioritizing to live well. And when we talk about living well, we talk about making those choices. We choose to live well. We choose to do things. And I feel that one of the greatest assets that each one of us has been gifted with is the power to craft our life, to choose to craft our life, to choose to sculpt our life. We are the architects of how our life should be. But unfortunately, we live so much in the default mode. Like, it's funny, when we're talking about our iPhones, we don't keep our ringtones in the default mode. We customize them. When we wear clothes, we don't wear clothes that come in the default mode. We customize them. Even our pizza toppings, we customize them. So it's quite funny that we as human beings customize practically everything we have and do, but we live our life in the default setting without customizing it. Each one of us is different. Each one of us has a different situation in life. Each one of us has different backgrounds, different baggages we carry. And it's so crucial and important to customize a life that's worth living, So one thing that I definitely want to say, people who are not going to go to the ashram, and nobody needs to, monkhood is not about being in an ashram, definitely need to look at prioritizing how to customize their life. And that's then about making those choices.
Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, I've designed a special free training to help you do it. The science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a new habit. And I want that for you. I want you to build the habit of self-belief. So what I'm going to do is email you every day for 254 days a link to an unlisted video that will shift your belief forward. To get on it for free, the link to join is in the description below.
It's easy to make a buck, very hard to make a difference. And whenever you're updating to a higher version of yourself, you have to be able to give the best of yourself to it. No one on planet Earth can stop you from accomplishing and achieving what you want.
Rule number 5, be hopeful.
Every individual has problems. You can have two people who go through the exact similar crises. It could be academic, it could be financial, it could be professional, it could be emotional. They go through the exact same crisis. One thrives and the other goes into a downward spiral of negativity, depression, anxiety, frustration. And I know problems can make us utterly helpless. We are helpless sometimes. After trying everything we could to resolve those issues, we know there are certain problems which are just absolutely beyond our control and we are helpless. The problem is not helplessness.
The problem is when that helplessness leads to hopelessness. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not helplessness that makes us depressed. It's not helplessness that makes us frustrated. It is that helplessness that leads to hopelessness, where we are not able to see that ray of hope, where we are not able to see that ray of light, we are not able to see the light coming at the end of the dark tunnel that we are passing through. It's that hopelessness that creates tremendous emotional pressure on us. And therefore, what truly differentiates two individuals is their coping mechanism. Mental health is about how do we have an internal coping mechanism in a way that we don't allow these challenges to get to us.
Rule number 6, tune into higher purpose.
I've been a pampered boy, middle class family, but only son. I had a younger sister, but the only son from a Marwadi Jain family. So, like really pampered. Everything I wanted was given. Everything I asked for was right there. A kind of spoiled brat in that sense, I never ever in my life ate a meal at home if it wasn't made according to what I'd asked for. So I only ate at home if what I asked for was cooked. Right? And I come here to the ashram, to the monastery, and I can't choose my meals. Whatever's cooked in the community kitchen and is served to everybody, I'm going to have to eat that, right? And trust me, back in the day, our ashram, our monastery didn't have enough money. So 5 days a week, they got the same vegetable, the cheapest one, and that was the curry with some rice and dal. And initially, my mind was like rebelling. I've come from a family where I look pampered. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And then I come here and everything's like, I have to just conform. I have to just eat whatever's available. And then I realized, what did I come here for? Did I join the monastery or the ashram for luxurious, fine, palatable food? Or did I come here for a purpose which is much larger than these little things around my life? And then the more I started tuning into my sense of purpose, something way higher than these little things around, I realized that those things weren't bothering me that much. Not to say that they didn't bother me at all. That would be haughty to say that it didn't bother me at all. But they didn't bother me as much because now my attention was on something that I came in here for. So I always tell people, especially the youth, don't allow your minds to be distracted from what your purpose is, what your goal is. All what you go through, as in the ups and downs you experience, is only an outcome of taking your eyes off your goal. So the lack of facility shouldn't depress us. And the presence of luxury and facility shouldn't distract us. 100%. So then there was lack of facility. Today there is abundance of facility in our monastery and an ashram. We live in South Mumbai, downtown, right? We're surrounded by luxury all over the place, So then back in the day there was nothing. And today there's so much. But because the attention is on the purpose, at that time I learned from my training and from my experience there, that I could actually take a lot in my stride because I kept shifting my attention to what I was meant to do.
Which was what?
Which was A, to deepen my own spiritual calling, and B, was to see how to strategize to share that spiritual experience with the world.
Got it.
So kept bringing my attention constantly to that. So if you want to decode my learning from the monastic order, my spiritual path, particularly for the youth, say keep your attention and focus constantly on what you're meant to do in life, which basically means there's a need to discover what you want to do in life. If you haven't discovered, the smallest trivia can disturb you. And if you've discovered and you're focused on that, the largest setbacks can be handled and you can take it in your stride.
Rule number 7, don't drown in the noise.
We're so much conditioned to doing things the way the world does it. There are standards of what is success, the standards of what is cool, the standards of what's socially acceptable. But is your life cool? Have you chosen to live that way? Or is that noise and that influence making you live that way? And most often, if not always, it has a lot to do with that influence, correct? So I'm not saying education is wrong. I'm not saying our upbringing or the advice given by our family or our friends or our well-wishers is wrong. I'm just saying we cannot drown in that noise and lose ourselves. It's our life. It's our life. They're not going to live it for us, you know. All those people who accept us because we show ourselves in a certain way on social media don't really come there when we need them the most. So sometimes I say we prioritize our online relationships so much that we forget our offline relationships, the real ones. You know, if I meet with an accident, if I'm ill, if I have an issue with my and financial issue, whatever issue or a problem, you know, people online, they're good. They're good. Those friends on Facebook and Instagram, people who follow, they're good, absolutely good, and with all good intentions. The most they can do is send you a message. The most they can do is send you a bouquet of flowers, you know, get well soon messages, and they're great because they're sent with love and intentions, good intentions, they're great. But people who are going to be there around us are the real people, the real relationships. But in being accepted on social media and being accepted by the social standards of success, which I call noise, we get so drowned in that noise that we forget our voice. So that's a conditioning, Ivan, you know, that we got so conditioned to live like that we don't now want to customize, which basically means we have to come out of that shell, to come out of that loop. We have to crack that conditioning, crack that loop.
Rule number 8, have a confidant.
Very often we're just carrying and lugging around all these problems, anxieties, challenges, frustrations in our head. And how long can we handle them by ourselves? There is a great need that we give a vent to all of our thoughts, feelings, frustrations, anxieties. There's a great need that we speak up. And therefore, I feel one of the greatest assets we can have for great mental health is a very close friend to whom we can speak our heart. Guys, it could be a girlfriend. I know some of you are smiling. Girls, it could be a boyfriend. I know, girls, you are giving a coy smile. Men, it could be your wife. Ladies, it could be your husbands. It could be your parents. It could be your siblings. It could be a colleague. But someone who is a dear, close friend to whom we can open up.
Rule number 9, be around those who value you.
If you find yourself not being valued, don't get angry or frustrated. Know that you're probably in the wrong place. Being judged by people who see tiny parts of you, tiny parts of your life, not the whole you. Or being judged by people who see you for how much is your net worth, how much is your current market value. They see you for what you have, not for who you are. Look for those who go beyond all externals, who have the expert vision to see the true you beyond all your shortcomings and all your faults. Those who can see your true value, your true potential. They will inspire you to do well, to live well, to love, to grow, and to rise in life. Guys, isn't it true that every individual has a special sense of worth? All we need is someone who can see that worth in us and make us see that worth in ourselves as well. There's a beautiful Sanskrit verse which says, Amantram aksharam nasti. There's no akshar or letter that cannot be turned into a mantra. Nasti moolam anaushadham. There's no plant, root, herb that is not medicinal. Ayogyam purusham nasti. There's no person who's ayogya or unworthy. But you know, guys, what's lacking? Yojakas tatra durlabha. What's lacking is an expert who can see the value, the worth in us and encourage us on our paths.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have fun.
What do you put on your pizza? What's your favorite pizza?
You to tell me yours first and then I'll answer, Ivan.
I like a lot of cheese and a lot of meat. So there'd be
Okay.
like lots of pepperoni and extra cheese.
Okay. For me, I like pesto sauce. I like pizzas with the pesto sauce, and I like jalapenos. I like fresh olives, nicely fresh olives. I also love artichoke hearts. As
Okay.
toppings on my pizza. But more than pizza, we need to customize our lives for sure.
Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
I have been a non-conformist. You cannot do anything substantial if you're a conformist. The greatest killer of your personal, spiritual, professional growth is conformism.
Can you make that simpler for the listeners?
Yeah. The greatest killer of our growth is to give in to what society thinks you should be doing. There are social standards of what you should be doing. Socially, it's cool to have a job or a business and start it this way and have a home in a certain place, have a certain car, wear a certain kind of clothes, have a certain kind of hairstyle. And we give in to it because we want to be socially accepted. Look, I'm not saying we shouldn't fulfill our parents' dreams. They're the most amazing people. They gave birth to us. They grew us up. They did so much for us. And we have that I hate to use the word duty, but I will still use it. Duty out of our genuine love and gratitude. To serve them, and their emotional support, their love will always be there for us. But trust me, even if you assume that we have to spend like about 8 hours at work daily, it's a very conservative number actually. To spend way more than that. But even if you have to spend like 8 hours at work daily and you're working 5 days a week, that's 40 hours at work a week. And assuming you take 2 weeks of holiday every year, that's 50 weeks working, that makes 2,000 hours of yours at work. Assuming you work for about 45 years, that's 90,000 hours of your life at work. Now that's a daunting number, right? The average is about 10 years of your life. I'm really not sure if I just conform and give in to what's socially acceptable or what my family wants. 90,000 hours of dissatisfaction, 90,000 hours of cribbing and complaining that I hate it, I don't like it, this is not what I wanted to do, or what to do, this is what trends, this is what pays, this is what my parents wanted. Conformism. Conformism will take away two things from me. A, my satisfaction. 90,000 hours. Just because it's paying me more, should I be miserable for those 90,000 hours? And the second thing is you can never achieve excellence. Excellence only comes when you do something that truly resonates with your soul, So for me, I said, no, man. HP, yes, I'm okay. I'm good at doing it. I was good, very decently good at my work, but it's not fulfilling me, And I don't suggest people take a risk like me. Definitely don't. I usually tell people that you have a mainstream something through which you earn and then follow your passion side by side so that there's no risks involved, calculated risks. And then when this takes over and grows, then chuck this out and make this as your main thing. Well, my system didn't allow me to do that, take that calculated risk. I just took the plunge and jumped in and said, no, I'm not going to do this if it doesn't really kind of resonate with my soul. Do you know something? In the game of life, you're playing a cricket match against an entity called the mind. No one on planet Earth can stop you from accomplishing and achieving what you want if you can bat against the googlies that the mind bowls at you. How many of you have experienced that the mind bowls googlies? Good. When it comes to exercising and jogging, how many of you know that the mind bowls googlies? Majja. Soja. How many of you have trouble in studying? Raise your hands as students. My God. And you come here, you hear all of these things. Don't get distracted by WhatsApp. Don't get distracted by internet pornography. Don't get distracted by Twitter. Don't get distracted by Facebook. Study. Don't get distracted by birds to do bird watching. Study. All these distractions. इधर आके कुछ उपदेश देते हैं कुछ लोग साधु लोग आपको. उस पे बात भी फेल होता है. So one father was telling his son, देख तेरे क्लास में वो लूसी है ना, लूसी, देख फर्स्ट आई है वो, और तू नालायक फेल हो गया. वो बोला देख के ही फेल हो गया मैं उसको. देख के ही तो फेल हुआ मैं उसको. I'll tell you something. My God. Why? Because the mind doesn't want you to win the game of life. How many of you wanted to wake up early in the morning? Raise your hands. Only wanted, I asked. Wanted to wake up early in the morning. And how many of you have done something called as setting an alarm clock? And then after setting the alarm clock, that's an alarm. Whether you want it or not, it rings. And when it rings, the mind puts its first googly. What does the mind do? By putting the googly, makes you clean bowled when you do the first snooze. You are out. You are out. If you snooze, you are out. I want to say one thing. Just one. And probably this will change the direction of your life. You know something? When you snooze the alarm, what happens? You decide to give in to the mind's ball. And this is how your morning begins. By giving in to the mind. सवेरे की शुरुआत होती है इस बॉलर से क्लीन बोल्ड होके. आगे क्या मैच जीतेंगे? ये तो दिन की शुरुआत है. By giving in. And it's no problem giving in. Sleeping 5 minutes extra is no problem. The problem is you develop the attitude of giving in. You tell yourself that what I decided last night is not as important. What is important is what the mind says. Because we listen. I'll tell you something, my humble advice. Because it's not just about getting up in the morning, it's about every aspect of life. Whether it's your work, if you're working, whether it's your study, if you're studying, whatever we do. The problem is, it's not about one thing. सवेरे हो गया ना, it reflects in every area of life. इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ, अगर 4 बजे नहीं उठना, मालूम है ना अपने से नहीं होता, 4:20 का अलार्म लगाओ, लेकिन 4:20 को उठो. Don't allow that snooze. There is a concept called sledging in cricket, where the opponent team comes and gives gali to the batsman. Gali, they try to distract them and take their focus away. One thing that Sachin is adored for in the history of cricket is sledging hasn't bothered him. This man is cool. Are you cool? When people do sledging against you in the game of life, are you cool? Or you lose your cool? There will always be people who are out of control. Can you stop a guy from criticizing you? Can you stop an opponent team from sledging? कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Are situations in your control many times? No. The guy who was batting was expecting an in-swing ball. And that's what the bowler bowled. And one gush of wind, an in-swing becomes an outswing. And is caught out. Lot of things, situations, people are just out of our control. How many of you think question paper is in your control? And when things go wild, I'll tell you what happens with us. This is what happens with us. you know. This is what happens with us, see? See how it foams up? We react. The stimulus of a person sledging against us, criticizing, pulling us down, envious of us, conspiring, politicking, makes us react and foam out. We start reacting also. Question is, do you want to be a 7-Up can or a Oxycool bottle of water? And I'm sure a lot of us would say, Prabhuji, हमको तो दूसरा कुछ सोचता ही नहीं है प्रभुजी. And thus, in our life, we will always have a stimulus, and we can choose to respond, because between the stimulus and response is our choice. A great personality is not born in the maternity ward. A great personality is born by the choices that one makes. And therefore, when there are all kinds of stimuli, we have to learn how to respond. If we are not strong spiritually, it is impossible. If we are not strong culturally, it is impossible. All this sounds great and good, and we know, yes, I want to do it. I can't be a can of soda. I want to be a water bottle. But is it so easy? No. That is why coming here is so important. That is why these foundational ethics of spirituality are so crucial in this age. As all of you are going to be successful in your own areas of life, if not cricket per se. And thus, we have to learn how to respond. What is the most selfish one-lettered word? I, isn't it? Everything revolves around I. iPhone, iPad, iPod, and the man says, I paid. What do you do? Everything revolves around the I. And what does I stand for? I stands for expectations. I should be treated like this. I should be loved like this. I should be dealt with like this. I should be respected like this. I should be given these many marks. I should not be given this. You're all leading a life of super high expectations. Everything revolves around my opinions, my desires, my likes, my dislikes. I love this, I want this, I don't want this. I. You think life will be a very happy life when it revolves around I? From our childhood, we have grown up like this. We've only learned to take, and everyone has to fulfill my expectations. Everything has to be up to my expectations. Therefore, when people come to God, people come to a temple also, they're only asking, give me what I want. No one comes to say, I love you, I want to give you. When the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, came up to his stage for his first presidential speech, his voice rumbled into the public address system when he said, ask not what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. And so we are saying, ask not what God can do for you. Ask what you can do for God. But no one asks that. Because the I is so big, my expectations, my desires, my things are so powerful that even when I come to a temple and ring a bell, all I'm doing is asking. The more we lead a life of I, our I will always be frustrated. Because people don't exist in this world to just fulfill your expectations. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the most selfish one-lettered word is I, which stands for expectations, and therefore avoid this word. How do you avoid this word? Be realistic in your expectations. अपेक्षाएं करने में कोई problem नहीं है, but understand that not everyone will fulfill your expectation. And secondly, avoid this word I by trying to serve others. You know why? Because when you want to be served, you're dependent on people. They may not serve you. When you want to serve, who can stop you? When you want respect, people may not respect you. But when you want to give respect, who can stop you? When you want to be loved, you may not be loved. But when you want to give love, who can stop you? When you want in charity, people may not give you in charity. But when you want to give charity, who can stop you? And therefore, learn to begin your journey from I to you. The more you want for yourself, you'll remain frustrated. The more you want to give, you will remain happy. When you want to achieve success in your career, in your academics, in your business, in your profession, we will fail. And that's the example of the giraffe. When the baby giraffe is born, falls from such a high distance straight on the ground, the mother positions herself right above the baby giraffe. And guess what she does first? Gives it a hard kick. बच्चे का जन्म होता है और माँ आके खाट से लात मारती है. तो बच्चा समझता नहीं अभी तो आया है जिंदगी में, मतलब लात मारे, कौन लात मारा, लात का मतलब क्या है मालूम नहीं उसको, अचानक एक झटका मिलता है उसको. So as it's just coming out of that impact, झटका, the mother gives a bad second harder kick. Now the guy understands. अगर मैं कुछ किया नहीं तो ये चलता रहेगा सिलसिला. So this baby giraffe starts getting up on its wobbly legs, on its wobbly legs. And as the baby giraffe gets up on the wobbly leg, थोड़ा खड़ा होकर, खड़ा होना सीखा ना, फैड एक और लात मारती है माँ. फिर गिर के he gets up and starts running. And then the mother giraffe goes, hugs the baby and starts kissing the baby. You know why? Because the baby giraffe's flesh is very soft and supple, and hyenas and lions love it. The mother knows that I can't be with the baby giraffe all the time. I have to go and get food for the baby. How would I protect it? इसलिए पहले ही एक ऐसी लात मारो कि ये उठना सीखे. और फिर जैसे थोड़ा उठा ना, तो एक और लात मारो, तो याद रहे और फिर उठना सीखे. जिंदगी भी माँ मदर जिराफ जैसी है. कई बार लात मारती है. We fail. We should get up. And we'll fail again. We should get up. And like I always say, don't just go through life. Grow through life. It's quite amazing, isn't it? That when something's stuck in our tooth, the tongue just keeps going to that tooth. Until unless that stuff is out of our tooth, it just keeps going there. Now, there's 31 other teeth in our mouth. When nothing's stuck, the tongue can go there and say, hey, wow, look, there's nothing stuck here. Go to one of the other tooth where there's nothing stuck and say, hey, look, amazing, there's nothing stuck here. But just the nature of the tongue that it keeps going to where something is stuck. And surely, we have to deal with it. Whenever I travel in my handbag, I always have dental floss and a box of toothpicks with me. Just in case something is stuck, I have to take it out. Certainly, we have to deal with it. At the same time, there's a lot of other good things that we can focus on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the nature of the tongue. Isn't it the nature of the mind as well? When there is a problem, an issue stuck in a certain area of our life, the mind keeps going to that problem and just gets stuck into the negativity of trying to deal with it. But there's 31, or shall I say many, many more, good things happening in so many different areas of our life where there's no problems, no issues stuck. Yet, the mind only keeps going to those areas where there are problems. It is necessary, therefore, for all of us that we focus on the good that is happening in our life and deal with the bad or the problems that are happening in our life. Let us not consume our minds with negativity. Let us consume our minds with positivity. Focus on the positive and deal with the negative. Most often, if not always, our lives seem to be out of balance. And when lives are out of balance, it makes us very irritable. When we drive a car, we always drive a car and a car has 4 wheels. And these 4 wheels in the car of life represent, first wheel, your personal life, your health, your mind, yourself, the things that you love to do, the things that you would want to do, not have to do. Most times we live a life of have to do. I have to study. I have to work. I have to pay my bills. I have to pay the taxes. I have to do this and I have to do that. I have to go for this social function. I don't have a choice. I have to. Where did the love to go? We just end up living a life of have tos and have forgot about our own selves. By subscribing to the pressures that come from all fronts in our lives, we've forgotten to live our own lives. We don't have time to unwind. We don't have time to spend with our own selves. We don't have time to be with nature and take a deep breath and just relish the crispness of the air. We don't have the time to do all of that, especially in a metropolitan city like this. When the pressures are so high and the pace is so fast, we just don't have time for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And that's one car, one wheel of our car, isn't it? Personal life. Our health, for instance. Such an important thing. But at the cost of just running, we forget to pay attention to our own health. The second wheel of the car is family life. Demands attention, isn't it? Your personal life demands attention. Your family life demands attention, isn't it? Before marriage, when you are in love, they call it a crush, isn't it? But after marriage, all that is left is Candy Crush. All the crushes are gone and all that you're left with is a Candy Crush. Just keep playing Candy Crush. And all the headaches coming from all the pressures. One lady went to a doctor and the doctor said, "How's your headache, madam?" She said, "He's out of town." Gosh, I must tell you, it demands a lot of attention. Your personal life, the first tire, do you have one? Do you have a personal life is my question. Do you have time for your health? Even in my hectic schedule, I have made 5 days of exercise here still. In all the lectures and all the talks and everywhere I go, because that's what's going to keep me going. I have to give time to myself because I don't get more than 3.5 to 4 hours of sleep. So if I don't look at my physical fitness, I'm gone. Ladies and gentlemen, do you give time for yourself? Do you have time for yourself, your personal time? Or is that wheel out of balance? Is it a flat tire? The third wheel, tire of the car of life is your professional life. Your personal life needs attention. Your family life needs attention. Your professional life needs attention. And the fourth is your social life. Your friends. People around you, your colleagues. Those relationships that matter a lot to you. Those people who would support you in time of need. Because to your spouses, to your family, you could speak a little. Sometimes certain things are not always confided with just blood relationships. You need that social side. People to whom you can speak. Open up your heart. How often do we just carry this baggage of stress and load, anxiety and worry in our heads? Lugging it all around as baggage. There's a social side to our life. Our friends. I've had those moments where I've snapped, even as a monk, because I'm a human being. Just because I put these robes of a monk doesn't mean I've become, a celestial angel. I'm still a human being. When one of those tires is out of order, if I haven't slept well, if my health is out of place, I'm going to snap out. You carry work pressures at home, you carry home pressures at work. Irritability is a symptom of an out of balance life. Stability in our responses is a symptom of a life in balance. We are irritable, we snap, we react at the drop of a hat for trivia just because we are out of balance. People who have a balanced life know how to handle pressure. People whose lives are not balanced sink under pressure. and get so irritable at little things, they just kind of snap off. I'm actually a camera shy person, believe it or not. You know, when people shoot me and they just post some clips, that's fine with me. But talking to a camera, it's a machine. It's just some electronic machine. The camera doesn't laugh. The camera doesn't cry. The camera doesn't have any interpersonal reciprocations and dealings. And I must tell you, I felt very nervous. In fact, a little fearful as well to speak into a camera. It was more a fear of failure, I would say, because, you know, when you speak into a camera and if it's relayed and it's put online, how do people see it? Otherwise, when I'm with people, people have seen me speak. And I decided, when the motive is to serve and contribute, we have to face our fears. We have to deal with our fears, face them, and rise above them. At some point of time, I had to decide to come and speak. So one day I decided, that's it. I have to come, speak in front of the camera. The first time I did it, believe me, we will post that video once. You must see me speaking there. Stiff, expressionless, motionless, stoic, nonchalant face, you know. And I guess I'm kind of slowly getting better. Because in order to deal with these fears, you have to face them. It's a beautiful slide. When followed in life, I guarantee you, life will be different. I guarantee you, if this is applied in life, we can have peaceful night's sleep. Here it is. Do you have a problem in life? No? Then why worry? Do you have a problem in life? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Then why worry? Do you have a problem in life? Yes. Can you do something about it? No. Then why worry? In the journey of life as well, the takeoff, which is our birth, is completely beyond our control. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose which nation we were born in. We didn't choose which city we were born in. We didn't choose our socio-economic class we were born in. We didn't choose our looks. We didn't choose the religion we were born in. Our takeoff of the journey of life was completely beyond us. And the landing, death, even that will be completely beyond us. I've heard many times people telling me that they would just love to die by getting a massive heart attack and dropping dead, no trouble for them, no hospitalization, no tubes, no needles, no trouble caused to others. In one shot, go. Now, no matter how much we might wish that, it's just beyond us. How we go and how the landing happens is completely beyond us. And what about the turbulence, the disturbances, the problems during the journey of our life? Some of them are within our control, which we can solve. But many problems and issues and the turbulence caused is completely beyond our control because it's caused by situations which are beyond us. It's caused by people who are beyond us. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in this journey of life, the takeoff, the landing, and the turbulence is not in our control. What is in our control, however, is the choices we can make. And therefore, spirituality is about learning how to make those right choices. When we learn to make those right choices, we learn to live a transformed, happy, fulfilled life despite all the turbulence and problems that are going on around us. It is said, when we are beautiful, it's God's gift to us. When we live our life beautiful, it is our gift to God. Therefore, being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of age. Being a gentleman is a matter of choice. And as a corollary to that, being a female is a matter of birth. Being a woman is a matter of age. Being a gentlewoman is a matter of choice. Let us all take to spiritual wisdom, learn to make the right choices which are within our control as our gift to God, and thus live our lives as thorough and perfect, ladies and gentlemen. A lady asked me after the session, in the Q&A session, "Sir, you said that you were an electrical engineer. Why did you give up your career as an electrical engineer?" I said, "Madam, I didn't give up my career as an electrical engineer. I upgraded my career from being an electrical engineer to a lifestyle engineer." And I said to her, each of us, based on our particular faculties of knowledge, should be contributing to the world's solutions to problems. Engineering is all about offering solutions to problems. All engineers are offering solutions to problems. All bodies of knowledge offering solutions to problems. And I thought mine is one, offering solutions to problems related to lifestyle. There are 4 things that we can never recover in our life. A stone, after it has been thrown into the valley. Words, after they have been spoken. An opportunity, once it is missed. And time, once it has gone. Considering the average lifespan of a human being today to be about 70 years, 70 multiplied by 12 is 840. Now that's how many months we have in our life to live in this world. And if life is represented by a jar and those 840 months by the marbles in the jar, every year 12 marbles are being thrown out of the jar. Last year 12 marbles have gone as well. Gone forever, never to come back again. Look at how many marbles you now have in the jar to make a difference, to leave a mark, to stand apart. Utilize your time well, and your time will treat you well, leading you into an overall sense of well-being. In the new year to come, invest in taking care of your body. Invest in nurturing and nourishing your relationships. Invest in finding and discovering your purpose, your passion, your calling in order to enhance your professional growth. Invest in pursuing and cultivating a meaningful, deep spiritual connect. And for some reason, if you found yourself stuck in any of these, some of these, or all of these areas in the last year, the new year brings a fresh opportunity to press the refresh button, refresh the page of your life, and live well. Because at the end of the day, remember, we are all just stories. And make sure that yours is an inspiring one. Thomas Alva Edison once made a very nice statement. He said, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." We may have an inspiration in our heart, that 1% strong, burning inferno of an inspiration. But unless that inspiration is put into action, dedicated, committed, hard work, that 99% perspiration, we are not going to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. And so also, when we talk about dealing with our bad habits, success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. We need that inspiration, but based on the foundation of that inspiration, we have to put in dedicated, committed, hard work. That 99% perspiration. What's amazing is that 99% perspiration is based on the foundation of that 1% inspiration. If the foundation of a building is in place, the very first thing that we make when it comes to building a structure, a house, a beautiful edifice or a mansion, is we put the foundation in place. If the foundation is in place, if it's strong and robust, then all the building blocks, the bricks, the cement, the mortar, the steel can go on and form a beautiful structure for us to live in, for us to dwell in. And so also, that 1% inspiration is the foundation of that 99% perspiration. Imagine if you're very inspired to change, if you're very inspired to give up some of your bad habits, but you don't put that hard work, that 99% perspiration, what good is that inspiration? Or imagine if you keep putting 99% of perspiration, that hard work, that effort, that dedicated commitment, but if you don't have that inspiration to do it in the right direction and sustain it and get it a higher shelf life, what good is that hard work and perspiration? Therefore, success comes by a balance of the two. Inspiration, which acts as the foundation, and perspiration, which acts as the building blocks to build upon that foundation. I once read a very interesting Japanese proverb. It said, action without vision is a nightmare. If you simply keep acting without having the right vision, the result is a nightmare. And it said, vision without action is a daydream. If you simply have a vision and you don't act upon it, all you have as a result is a daydream. I have rephrased it for our discussion here today. Perspiration without inspiration is a nightmare. But inspiration without perspiration is a daydream. Reflection that I want to offer to all of you this morning is, get consumed by the positive energy. Focus not on your bad habits. Get consumed not by the negative energy of your bad habits. Sometimes we just get so consumed by it that all that's playing on our mind is that. No, that's meant to be dealt with. Focus on the good things that are happening in your life. And to focus on the good things and be grateful doesn't happen automatically. It's not our default setting. Our default setting is to go towards the negative. Our default setting is to focus on the negative. We have to customize our lives. By being consciously aware, we have to become more mindful and conscious of the wonderful gifts, the wonderful opportunities, the wonderful blessings that we've been showered with. And with that positive energy, with that positive emotion of gratitude, feel tremendously empowered to deal with our bad habits, to deal with our challenges. And therefore, do not be hateful about what you're going through in life. Be grateful for all those wonderful gifts that you've been given in your life. I feel challenges are such an integral part of growth in our life. For example, a teacher will always pose higher and higher challenges to the students. Why? Because the teacher wants the student to grow in his or her understanding of the subject. Mathematics, for instance. What's mathematics in kindergarten and primary school, in secondary school, in university is different. Why? Because the challenge level goes on increasing. And the higher the challenge, and in a better way we are able to crack it, we simply grow deeper in our understanding of the subject. There is no meaning to life without a challenge. And the symptom of greatness is to accept that challenge in a very sportive spirit and learn how to grow deeper in whatever we are doing. When you write, you will most certainly end up making mistakes. What's truly great is that right behind you is attached an eraser, and you can actually correct that mistake and once again write the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, even in our lives, we make so many mistakes. And what's amazing is God has given us the opportunity, the chance to erase them, to correct them, and to rewrite our stories. We all make mistakes. I remember I once went for a program and a gentleman came to me and said, Prabhuji, I'm your fan. I said, why? He said, your talks are really inspiring, especially the jokes. I said, what about the points, man? He said, the points are good, but the jokes are great. I said to him, come on, all the jokes are only meant to really pass on the message and drive home the point. And just as we were talking, a little boy came running and I said, your son, right? He said, yeah. And just following the boy came a lady. I said, your daughter, right? And the man turned blue. And the lady was like all smiles, a ear-to-ear smile, because she was not his daughter. She was actually his wife. The guy turned to his wife and said, प्रभु जी को ज़्यादा seriously नहीं लेने का, उनको jokes मारने का बहुत आदत है. Oh my God, I realized, God, I had made a big mistake there by asking if it was his daughter when she was actually his wife. We all make mistakes. Now, anyone who comes to me with people around, I never ask whether this is your son or daughter or wife or father or mother. I just ask, can you kindly introduce me to everyone, please? Simple, isn't it? Yes, we make mistakes. We should learn from those mistakes, erase them, correct them, and never repeat them. Now, the nature of success is that it gets into our heads and makes us complacent. So the first, guys, if you've been successful in keeping up with your commitment, don't let it get into your head. Don't get proud. Don't get complacent, because complacency will stop your growth. And the nature of failure is whenever we are not able to keep up with our commitments, whenever we are not able to do what we want to do, is that it gets into our heart and makes us depressed. Ladies and gentlemen, if in the last week you haven't been able to keep up with your commitments, don't worry. Don't get depressed. Don't feel guilty. That guilt, if it helps you to improve, is good. But that guilt, if it just sends you into a mental trap, that guilt is no good. In fact, I always say this. It's not about losing a particular battle. It's about winning the war. Ladies and gentlemen, every war is made of many small and tiny battles. And it's only utopia, a fantasy, an imagination to think that those who are fighting in the war will win every battle. That is impossible. Even during the Kurukshetra war, when the 5 brothers, the Pandavas, the noble ones, were fighting with their 100 cousins, the vicious ones, the Kauravas, the whole idea was about winning the war. And the Pandavas kept losing many battles during the war. Abhimanyu, Arjun's son, was killed. Ghatotkacha, Bhima's son, was killed. The 5 sons of Draupadi were killed. So many losses during that war. It's not that the Pandavas won every battle, but they were certainly victorious in the war. And during those battles, when they lost those battles, it's natural that we feel depressed. It's natural that we kind of have the tendency to give up. This is when Lord Krishna came to their rescue by always bringing their attention to the final goal, to keep their eyes focused on the final goal of winning the war. As we were mentioning earlier, I really want all of you to truly introspect. If you decided something in the last year, 2017, and did you truly work on it through the year, and where do you stand today? Throughout the day today, till we meet the next morning, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I want all of you to introspect. This one word, introspection, to see if you've actually worked on what you decided, or were you a victim of resolution, dissolution, and no solution. Ladies and gentlemen, I often say that habits are of 3 kinds. The first is our good habits. And when we talk about good habits, for example, saying a thank you, just as an example, or saying a sorry, being hospitable, courteous, kind is a good habit. And very often, it's just a habit though. Very often we could say a thank you or even say a sorry and not even mean it. We go into the autopilot mode, and that's why we call it a habit. It's just in the autopilot mode. We say thank you, we don't mean it. We may say sorry, we may not mean it. And therefore, when it comes to good habits, in the year 2018, let us consciously enhance them. Not just sustain and enhance those habits, but consciously enhance those habits, which is basically, for example, we say a thank you, we mean a thank you as well. For example, if we say a sorry, we mean a sorry as well. They're good habits. And you could identify your own good habits and make sure that we do not continue them in an autopilot mode in the year 2018. So with the good habits, we don't want to be in the autopilot mode, but we want to consciously enhance the quality of those good habits as we enter the year 2018. Unless you go through sharpening what is within you will not come out. The pencil has to go through painful sharpening before the sharp lead comes out and makes an impact. Ladies and gentlemen, similarly in life, unless we go through painful sharpening, the best things within will never come out. As they say, no pains, no gains. Some of you have commented and asked me this question that all this sounds easier than done. It's easy to say these things, easy to listen to these things, but when it comes to practical implementation, application, and dealing with these things in real life, it seems very difficult. It seems very hard. But that's very true. What you've said is perfectly true. Because only the wrong things come very easy. The right things that we need to do in our life don't come that easily. You know, when we do the wrong things, they give us that momentary pleasure and they're extremely easy to do. Although they give us that momentary pleasure and they're easy to do, in the long run, however, we have to pay a very high price in terms of our physical, emotional, mental and spiritual well-being. Although they give us pleasure and they're easy, God, they really cause a lot of trouble later. On the other hand, the right things, they cause pain in the beginning. They're painful to do. It's a lot of hard work. They don't come easy. And if we just are willing to bear that initial pain, that initial hard work, that initial discomfort, and that initial could be a long time actually, in the long run, these right things, these right habits pay back a massive premium to us in terms of sustained pleasure, safe pleasure, which has a very high shelf value and it is not at all destructive to our overall sense of well-being. This kind of pleasure coming from the right things, Lord Krishna calls these pleasures in the Bhagavad Gita as sattvic pleasures or pleasures in the mode of goodness. They cause pain in the beginning, discomfort in the beginning, but they pay back a huge premium in terms of sustained high shelf pleasures. On the other hand, Lord Krishna calls this short-term pleasures that come by doing wrong as pleasures in the mode of ignorance or tamasic pleasures. These pleasures are momentarily very exciting, thrilling, exhilarating, and they're easy to go. But in the long run, we have to pay a huge price. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, do not worry so much about what is easy or hard. Worry about what is right and wrong. The right things may be hard, but we should be doing it in our long-term interest. The wrong things may come easy, but we should be avoiding them in our long-term interest. Therefore, even if being polite, sensitive, swift, sportive, kind to others may be hard, even if putting all these things that we've spoken in the last couple of days into practice sounds very hard and difficult, but that's the right thing to do. Ladies and gentlemen, in our transformative journey, we have to worry about the right thing to do, not the easy thing to do. And right things require a lot of hard work. But bit by bit, as we work hard, we can get there.
अगर आप जीवन में यशस्वी होना चाहते हो, अगर आप जीवन में सक्सेस प्राप्त करना चाहते हो, तो मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, दृढ़ता से जीना पड़ता है, डिटर्मिनेशन से जीना पड़ता है, धीरज रखना पड़ता है, पेशेंट बनना पड़ता है। और यदि इन सब का पालन भी करो, तब भी कई बार जीवन में चुनौतियां आती है, चैलेंजेस आती है, हम फेल हो जाते हैं, हम गिर जाते हैं और निराश हो जाते हैं। सक्सेस का, यश का सबसे बड़ा शत्रु है निराशा। यदि निराश हो जाओगे तो सब कुछ खो बैठोगे। जब भी निराश हो जाओ ना, तो बस मां जिराफ को याद कर लेना। जब मां जिराफ अपने बच्चे को जन्म देती है, तो माता जिराफ बड़ी ऊंची होती है और वो बच्चा ऊंचाई से जोर से जमीन पर गिर जाता है। और जैसे ही बेचारा समझने का प्रयत्न करता है कि मैं कहां गिर गया, तब तक वो मां उस बच्चे के ऊपर खड़ी रहती है और उसको बहुत जोर से लात मारती है। उड़ते हुए बच्चा जाकर कहीं और गिर जाता है और बस अपनी सुध-बुध दोबारा इकट्ठा करने का प्रयत्न करता है। फिर मां उसके ऊपर आकर खड़ी रहती है और दोबारा एक बड़ी जोर से लात मारती है। बच्चा समझ जाता है कि यदि मैं कुछ न करूं ना, तो लात खाते रहना पड़ेगा। अपने बड़े ही कमजोर पैरों पर खड़े रहने का प्रयत्न करता है वो जिराफ का बच्चा। फिर दोबारा मां आकर उसको लात मारती है, बच्चा फिर गिर जाता है और समझ जाता है कि यदि मैं खड़े रहकर भागूं नहीं, तो बस लात खाते रहना पड़ेगा। जिराफ का ये बच्चा तेजी से भागने का प्रयत्न करता है और तभी मां आकर अपने बच्चे को चूमती है, आलिंगन करती है। मां जिराफ भली भांति जानती है कि जंगल में बड़े खूंखार पशु है, शेर, लोमड़ी इत्यादि, जो नवजात प्राणियों का मांस बड़ा पसंद करते हैं। और मां जिराफ तो बच्चे के साथ, उस शिशु के साथ हमेशा नहीं रह सकती। तब अगर वो बाहर चली जाए तो इस बच्चे की रक्षा कौन करेगा? इसलिए सबसे पहले जैसे उसका जन्म होता है, उसको लात मारती है ताकि वो उठना सीखे। दोबारा लात मारती है ताकि उसे वो उठने की जो क्रिया है वो याद रहे। दोबारा लात मारती है ताकि केवल उठे नहीं, दौड़ना प्रारंभ करे। जीवन में कई बार चुनौतियां आएंगी, चैलेंजेस आएंगे और हम गिरेंगे, हम फेल होंगे, लेकिन मां जिराफ और उसके बच्चे को याद कर लेना चाहिए। जब भी चुनौतियां आए, जब भी चैलेंजेस आए, जितनी बार भी आप गिरो, उठना सीखो। उस बच्चे से उठना सीखो, उठ के खड़े रहना सीखो, खड़े रह के भागना सीखो। अगर उठोगे, खड़े रहोगे, भागना सीखोगे, तब यश, सक्सेस के ऊंचे से ऊंचे शिखर पर पहुंचना सीखोगे।
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.